It goes without saying that wireless audio products, especially truly wireless earbuds, are the de facto choice for most mainstream audiences. But with the convenience that you get with wireless audio products, you also have to contend with two problems. One, longevity, because you have built-in batteries, and secondly, audio fidelity. And with high-res music and lossless getting much needed shot in the arm thanks to the introduction of the lossless tier in Apple Music, I am fairly certain that many people will now be looking for wired products once again, which is why it made most sense for me right now to actually do the research and of course also the testing for this specific video. And you know what? The cool folks over at Headphone Zone sent across this gorgeous box, which is carefully curated with 8 of the best IEMs that you can find right now under Rs 2500 in India. So without wasting any more time, my name is Ashad. You're watching MySmartPrice. Let's find out how each one of these fare and which one is the best one for you. Alright, but before we move on, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever MySmartPrice puts out an awesome new tech video, which includes cool ones like these. Before I start laying out the products in front of you, let me break down the testing process. I used a wide range of sources with a 3.5mm plus mic audio port or a basic dongle for listening. These products included a bunch of Android phones, an iPhone 12, a MacBook Pro, and a Surface Laptop 4. Apart from this, I also used the Shanling UA1 and iBasso DC02 portable DACs to see if these earphones can scale in performance. Furthermore, I tested the mics by recording samples on the Surface Laptop 4. In fact, I'll add links to the samples in the description below so you can judge for yourself. Now moving on to the list, which is in my order of preference from the bottom to the top. I will also share my individual grade for each one of these IEMs and also let you guys know how I arrived at the final grade at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Now these are the Sony MDR XB55AP and it has one purpose and one purpose only, to suffocate you with the amount of bass on offer. But the letters X and B in its name actually sound for extra bass, so I suppose that was to be expected. Although the bass is woolly and not very tight either, it bleeds into the other frequencies and tends to overpower the mix. The other problem with the sound signature is the terrible upper mid-range spike that is bound to give you a headache. This shouty tuning is not very pleasing in my opinion, even if you are a bass head. I'd suggest you keep watching the video for my pick for the best earphones for bass heads. Additionally, there is no soundstage to speak of as all the sound is stuck in your head. The imaging or instrument separation is also average and so is the tonality. The treble response is pretty weak too, with no extension whatsoever. Now the other problem with the MDR XB55AP is its sheer size. Owing to the large 12mm neodymium drivers coupled with the bass duct, the earbuds extend too far out of your ears, but thankfully they're pretty light and you also get a single button remote. Another advantage is the mic performance. It sounds clean and crisp for your video calls and voice calls. As per my grading system, the MDR XB55's mic quality takes the top spot, which it actually shares with another earphone in the list, which I'll come to soon. Now these earphones get a C+ from me. Buy it only if you want earphones with a good mic for your work from home calls or if you have a torture fetish to go deaf soon. Second from the bottom of my list is the A-Jace1. Jace is a Swedish audio brand that actually makes pretty good audio products. But the A1 was actually not up to the same quality that I have come to expect from Jace. Especially the boxed in dark sound that offers no semblance of a soundstage. Thankfully the instrument separation is better than the Sony's, but there are others that are even better. Again, the signature is a warm sound that favors the bass and is slightly more refined than the Sony MDR XB55AP. Although the A1's low-end response is still not a very tight one and it has a lot of decay and the timing is completely off too. Additionally, the tonality is nothing worth talking about, the mids are fine, and the treble doesn't offer too much extension and is definitely not as refined. What this means is that you lose out on a lot of detail and transparency, and the overall sound quality is muddy. This is the kind of earphones that you used to get a few years ago. But yes, it is not as muddy as the MDR XB55AP, but that doesn't really count as praise because the other products in this list are just way better. And to add salt to the wound, the mic quality is the worst of the lot. It sounds really bad. There are a couple of redeeming points though, which are the flat cables, which means that there is absolutely no tangling, and of course the fact that you get a 3-button inline remote. While it's made entirely of plastic, it doesn't feel really cheap and it fits nicely and feels comfortable for long listening sessions too. Overall, this also gets a C+ from me. The most inexpensive IEM in this list, priced at just Rs 1199, is the German audio brand Beyerdynamic's Byrd. It also happens to be the most comfortable pair of earphones in this list, with a flat profile that doesn't protrude out of your ears. Plus, the orange colored cable is a nice funky color. What's conspicuously absent is a mic, which is a huge letdown. Anyway, the sound signature is clearly V-shaped with recessed mids. Beyerdynamic says this offers punchy bass, but I do not think that is true. But compared to previous earphones, the Byrd does offer slightly better details and sounds slightly more refined. However, the sound staging is weak and so is the tonality. The sound here misses that X factor that is available in the next set of earphones. Overall, this is yet another C+ product and the final one to get a C+. Buy it if you're strapped for cash and you want something more comfortable. But since most people today need a mic, I find the Byrd to be a tough sell, because if it doesn't have a mic, it should at least offer great sound, which it doesn't. Now, if you've reached this far and if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe even comment below, because it doesn't take any money. And the YouTube algorithm will actually recommend this to more people looking for videos like these. Finally, coming to the Knowledge Zenith or KZ products, we are entering the territory of good sound now. The rest of the list is dominated by Chi-Fi or Chinese high fidelity products. It is a huge deal in the audiophile community for the kind of value that you get with these products. Starting with the KZ ZSTX, which comes with dual drivers inside each housing. You get a balanced armature driver for pristine highs and dynamic drivers for bass. They're available in really funky colors, purple and cyan, and they have transparent housings as well. I know that nothing is making a big deal about their truly wireless earbuds with transparent housings, but in the world of audiophilia, it is pretty commonplace. As for the rest of the design, you get a detachable 0.75mm 2-pin connector, which means that you can replace the wire if it breaks, which is actually very good. And these in-ears have an ear loop connector for a secure fit, which might be uncomfortable for some folks not used to such a style. I'd categorize the sound to be slightly V-shaped but extremely bright, which means the treble sounds nice and extended. However, there are treble peaks, especially in the upper range, and that could sound shrill and annoying to many folks. Although this does bring out a lot of details in songs that were missing before. Plus, the sound staging is extremely wide for a pair of IEMs. It is the kind of sound that is enjoyable for folks who like detail. That said, they do sound harsh and not as refined as some of the better IEMs that I'm yet to talk about. And while the bass is present, it's not very punchy. The mids are pretty average too. As for the mic performance, the KZ ZSTX definitely sounds good enough, but could do with some more clarity. Overall, this is a good option for those looking for a wide soundstage and treble heavy sound signature. It gets a B grade from me. Now, the next in my list is the KZ ZSN Pro X. It is very similar to the KZ ZSTX in terms of design, only that it uses a metal faceplate with a resin 3D printed enclosure, again transparent. The mic quality, the fit, the comfort is equal on both the IEMs. The ZSN Pro X actually distinguishes itself with its sound signature. It has a V-shaped sound with a more powerful and punchier bass. Now, this is still not the best bass earphones in this list, but it is a very enjoyable sound. The soundstage is not as wide as the KZ ZSTX, but it sounds more refined and clean. It doesn't sound as harsh as the ZSTX, and that is a great thing. Over the years of testing many KZ earphones, the company has definitely cleaned up its tuning by a lot. Now, I feel that this is the KZ you should buy in this price range, and most folks are going to enjoy the fun sound signature. I know I did. The KZ ZSN Pro X gets a final grade of B+. And now we are in the top 3 territory, and in the third spot is the Soundmagic E11C. Soundmagic is one of the original Chi-Fi brands that cut through the clutter of high price, low value, branded audio gear. The E11C is one of the oldest IEM in this list, and it is the most expensive as well, but it's still very potent and worth every penny you pay for it. That's the thing about wired audio products. If you can take care of them properly, they can last decades. Yes, the design is very straightforward and old school, but the tiny housings are made entirely of metal and are super comfortable too. Sometimes I didn't even realize that I was wearing them. Now, similar to the Jace A1, you get a 3-button inline remote, but unlike the Jace A1, the mic quality is pretty decent. Not the best, but you can use it for Zoom calls. So coming to the sound signature, this is the best bass performance IEM that I was talking about. The sound signature, unlike most earphones in this list, is more balanced, but the punchy bass is extremely tight. Especially when you listen to the bass lines in rock songs, such as the one that is playing right now, you're bound to appreciate the tuning and of course the timing as well. But the good thing is the bass doesn't overpower any frequency and lets the mids and the trebles breathe and do their thing. What's also good is the sound staging and imaging. Overall, it's a nice and detailed sound that definitely doesn't disappoint. And anyone who buys the Soundmagic E11C is bound to be very happy with it. The E11C gets a B+ too. I am genuinely excited to show you guys the Moondrop Spaceship. This Chinese brand is highly revered in the audiophile community, and the Spaceship is their most affordable IEM. The Spaceship has a micro driver design with tiny 6mm dynamic drivers and an impedance of 16 ohms, which is plus minus 15%. And this is where I want to tell you how specs don't even tell the whole story. These earphones offer fantastic sound and are difficult to drive despite the low impedance. What does this mean? Ideally, most budget earphones can run fine on smartphone and laptop amps, but the Moondrop Spaceship actually demands more, which is why it sounds louder on the UA one compared to a phone. Anyway, the design is a weird one. It is a bullet styled design that might not be comfortable for anyone. Finding the right ear tip is vital here. However, if you can indeed nail the fit, these are super comfortable for long listening sessions. Plus, it is made of metal, so it is supremely sturdy too. There is also a single button inline remote and a mic in it. The mic is absolutely fantastic and the best among IEMs in this list. It shares the top spot with the MDR XB55AP. I actually used them for a session with IDC where I was the co-host, and it is great for business needs. The mic is actually that good. But the real reason why we are here is the rich, detailed, transparent and clean sound signature. The balanced sound absolutely nails the high frequency performance. The treble has a very restrained yet refined quality to it that brings out details in many songs that I hadn't even heard before. Even if you're listening to regular Bollywood tracks, you will listen to things that you haven't heard before. But the beauty of the sound signature is that there is enough punch in the low end too. Moondrop doesn't skimp on the bass performance or even the mids for that matter. The imaging is clearly Spaceship's strong suit, especially for its price. If I had one qualm, it is that it doesn't match the timing and attack of the final earphone in my list. Anyway, the price to performance ratio of the Moondrop Spaceship is off the whack. For just ₹1699, I really cannot find a better value for money product that punches way above its weight as the Moondrop Spaceship does. Fun fact, in my grading scale, the Moondrop Spaceship actually takes the top spot easily and shares it with the next earphone that I'm going to talk about. But do remember, you'd absolutely need a DAC like the Shanling UA1 to drive and get the best performance from these tiny rock stars. And here we are, the final numero uno product in the list, the BLON BL03. This is your quintessential all-rounder product. The one reason why it is better than the Moondrop Spaceship is that it is much easier to drive, meaning you don't necessarily need a separate DAC for it, and it trumps the Spaceship and every other IEM in this list when it comes to tonality. Instruments sound like they should, and coupled with the excellent imaging, you're treated to a very detailed sound. And it goes without saying that the sound staging is fantastic too. Maybe not as good as the KZ ZSTX or the Moondrop Spaceship, but it is very good nonetheless. The kind of body you get in the bass and the mids is sublime, and it does offer a good treble extension too. The overall presentation is just very nice. The only reason why the Spaceship is better is because it is a more transparent sound that sounds much cleaner. Otherwise, you're definitely going to be blown away by BLON's sound. See what I did there? Anyway, you also get an inline remote with a mic in it. The mic is good too. It does some sort of environmental noise cancellation which can make you sound robotic, but it does help in cutting out a lot of the ambient noise. Also, the BL03s are built like a tank with its all metal earbud design. I really like the way it fits too. The braided cable on the other hand does tangle very easily though. But like the KZs, the cable can be replaced, but finding a replacement cable is apparently not easy. Anyway, overall, I'm super impressed by the BLON BL03s, and it definitely shares the top spot with the Spaceship with its A-grade rating. So what you see on your screen right now is a chart of how I arrived at the final grading for each one of these IEMs. It is very evident from this chart alone that Chi-Fi audio products offer far better value compared to well-entrenched, well-known brands such as Sony and Beyerdynamic. Now, if you're looking at the overall build quality, sound signature and mic quality, brands such as BLON, Moondrop, Soundmagic and Knowledge Zenith definitely are unparalleled in this space. I already own a KZ ZSN Pro X, and I'm definitely picking up a Moondrop Spaceship and a BLON BL03 for my collection. What about you guys? Do let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends so that they can also make the right decision. Well, until next time, this is Ashar from MySmartPrice signing off. Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends.